everybody, welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for being patient with us while we work through some of these technical difficulties. I'm so glad you guys are here because we have a lot to get into. We're talking about Stephen A. Smith and that take that he had on Shohei Ohtani. We're also talking about Dame and a team that is already trying to pull some strings in order to get him over there. But before we dive in, let's make sure you have all subscribed to our channel. Tap the bell for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You guys can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. And of course, happy Taco Tuesday!
Okay, I love it. We did not forget this time. Great job, Jackie. I think I'm going to make myself some tacos later, so very excited to celebrate today. You guys, since you're going to make some tacos?
No, I didn't make them last week, so I still have stuff, so I obviously have to make it before that stuff goes bad. So I think so.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so we're both celebrating Taco Tuesday. Hopefully you guys are as well in the comments. You guys, we're going to jump right into this first need to know news story because there's a lot to get into, and I know we started our stream a little bit late, so I don't want to waste any time. Stephen A. Smith absolutely torn apart for his bizarre take on Shohei Ohtani. He said that he didn't think it was a good thing or really beneficial for Major League Baseball to have a foreigner who needs a translator as sort of this face of the sport, this rising young star of the sport. So let's listen to exactly what he said on First Take. Can we please roll the first clip?
And I understand that baseball is an international sport itself in terms of participation. But when you talk about an audience gravitating to the tube or to the ballpark to actually watch you, okay, I don't think it helps that the number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so you can understand what the hell he's saying.
Okay, and then he went on and he added, quote, "The fact that you have a foreign player that doesn't speak English, that needs an interpreter, believe it or not, I think contributes to harming the game to some degree when that's your box office appeal. I need somebody like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys, and unfortunately at this moment in time, that's not the case." Now, of course, we are in a moment of time where we want to hold public figures accountable for the different ways that they may intentionally or unintentionally perpetuate negative stereotypes or discriminatory thinking in general. So, of course, Stephen A. Smith received a bunch of criticism for his take, and instead of kind of coming out with a heartfelt apology from the get-go, he sort of doubled down on his take. So let's get into the second clip, please.
My segment on Ohtani this morning on First Take. People are misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the state of the game. Baseball itself. Baseball's a great game, a great sport. And some of the greatest players in the world are foreign players. Tatis comes to my mind. I love this brother and what he brings to the table. And Ohtani is the second coming of Babe Ruth, okay? That I was trying to say. I'm talking about the marketability and the promotion of the sport is exactly what Sports Illustrated essentially alluded to in their article last month when they talked about 28% of the players in Major League Baseball are foreign players. A lot of them need translators. You know, Spanish, it could be Mandarin, Japanese, the list goes on and on and on. If you are a sport trying to ingratiate yourself with the American public the way Major League Baseball is because of the problems that you've been having to deal with in terms of improving, it doesn't mean anything more than that. Baseball is a great game, but baseball's audience is significantly older than the NBA, the NFL audience, etc., etc. That's what I was talking about. Nothing more. We're only talking about Ohtani because he's phenomenal and he's going to be in the home run derby and he's got 33 home runs with a 279 batting average, plus he can pitch and he's the second coming of Babe Ruth, practically. We know it's an international sport. We know that that's great, and baseball having a global appeal that it is, fine. But in the United States, all I was saying is that when you're a superstar, if you can speak the English language, then guess what? That's going to make it that much easier and less challenging to promote the sport.
First, I do want to say he can speak English. but I'm going to get into that in just a second, because what's weird about Stephen A. Smith is that he's completely missing how influential Ohtani has been in baseball, because he is must-see TV every single night for baseball fans. He is reportedly the most searched player on the internet in the MLB right now. And he's also been breaking records and impressing people left and right. He's the MVP. He's putting together a season unlike any other in the history of the game. He's been named the starting pitcher and leadoff hitter for the American League in the All-Star game, and he's also the betting favorite to win the Home Run Derby. So if he decides to go ahead and use a translator so that he can better communicate with the media, the fans, the public, I say more power to him. That's not something that he should be criticized for or punished for, especially because he can speak English, but it's not his first language. So for us to sit there and expect him to be able to communicate fluently in a language that he wasn't born speaking, and not take advantage of having a translator there who's going to be able to just better communicate exactly what he's trying to say and the messages that he wants to send to the public, I think it's ridiculous that Stephen A. is up there saying that this is not the guy that should be the face of the MLB. This is bad for the sport. It's honestly a very outdated way of thinking, and it's especially alarming considering we are in this global awakening right now where people are recognizing their discriminatory tendencies within themselves, the xenophobia that they may have had before, homophobia, sexism. We are in this moment of time where people are addressing the areas where we have all fallen short and where we haven't been able to give people who are different than us the benefit of the doubt. So I'm honestly shocked that Stephen A. Smith got up there and said something like this, especially because hate crimes against Asian Americans are at a high right now, and as a public figure on a national television platform, to come out there and say something that sort of singles out and puts a target on an Asian American's back is wrong, and it only perpetuates that same sort of like xenophobia that I was mentioning before. I don't believe Stephen A. has it out for Asians. I do want to get that out there. I don't think that he's like, hates Asians. I just think that this was a very, very poor take. Now, Jackie, before I get into his third and final apology, what was your initial reaction to that clip on First Take?
So my first initial reaction was, okay, I got to watch the whole thing. Because I hate when stuff like this pops up and I haven't seen the whole thing. And maybe Gundy, with what he said about the hoodlums, it was wrong for him to say it, but it wasn't this earth-shattering, I have racist tendencies kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where there's twofold. Who is Stephen A. Smith, number one, and the entire context. But like you said, I went and I watched the whole, and I didn't see his verbal apology. I saw his social media apology, which I think we're going to get to next. So I was sitting here listening to that. The first time I heard that was just now. And the hell, because damn, I don't even know how else to really say that. Let me tell you what I heard. And again, this is just me. What I heard was baseball fans are old white racist. They need to see some white dude that speaks English. If it's somebody who doesn't speak English, old white racists are going to get mad. And so you don't want to piss off old white racists. So to avoid pissing off old white racists, you need to have some white dude that speaks English. That's what I heard. And the second one was worse than the first one to me. Because the first one, you could have been like, y'all, I really messed up. I shouldn't have said that. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I thought I was trying to be funny, because that's what I kind of got from his overtones when he was doing his little preachy, anecdotal self. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, he's just trying to be funny, and it's a joke that didn't land. And he should have rode on that. Like, I thought it was funny. I guess obviously this isn't a time to make those kinds of jokes. I was wrong. Leave it at that. But that fake apology you just showed me, that is very ESPN-like. Let me leave it at that.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Listening to him in the first clip and when he doubled down in the second clip, he's saying like, look, baseball fans are racist and we got gotta keep him, we gotta keep him happy. And it's like, that's the exact opposite mentality that we should all have in 2021. This is the time that we go in and we disrupt the racist fan base and we give them this Japanese baseball player who's killing it in every way, shape, and form. You know what I mean? So to me, it was just outrageous that he was even sitting there and doubling down on that. Now, I do want to give him credit because his written apology was, did seem a lot more, it was worded way better. Yeah, it was a lot better. So let's throw up that third asset for everybody. So he says, let me apologize right now. As I'm watching things unfold, let me say that I never intended to offend any community, particularly the Asian community, and especially Shohei Ohtani himself. As an African American, keenly aware of the damage stereotyping has done to many in this country, it should have elevated my sensitivities even more. Based on my words, I failed in that regard, and it's on me and me alone. Ohtani is one of the brightest stars in all sports. He's making a difference as it pertains to inclusiveness and leadership. I should have embraced that in my comments. Instead, I screwed up. In this day and age, with all the violence being perpetrated against Asian communities, my comments, albeit unintentional, were clearly insensitive and regrettable. There's simply no other way to put it. I'm sincerely sorry for any angst I've caused with my comments on First Take this morning. Again, I'm sorry, and I'll happily reiterate these words more extensively tomorrow morning as well. So I do think that out of the all of the apologies that we've seen for racist behaviors or discriminatory behaviors or prejudices or whatever it is, this one definitely feels more heartfelt. It feels sincere. I think that he hopefully did take the time to read the comments and absorb some of the backlash that he received and realize that that take was just off on so many levels. So
I do want to
he took accountability.
I want to get to one comment before we move on because gaslighter fluid is absolutely right. And I don't want to gloss over the fact that that is a thing that happens all the time with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith says a disparaging thing about Black people all the time. And we've never gotten an apology for it at all. Instead, what we'll get is Stephen A. Smith coming on and saying, well, yeah, I said that, but obviously I know as a Black man what it means to be Black in this country. So thereby I can say these things. And he's never been really criticized outside of the Black community for the things that he says about Black people. So I don't want to gloss over that because he says Stephen A. always does this to Black players and no one cares. That is absolutely right. So I'm probably going to play two sides of the same coin right now because the truth is that's this country. We can gloss over stuff like that. People make allowances for the N-word because it's in rap music. You know, people make excuses when it comes to hate that Black people get, period. And I don't want to mix words about that because I want that to be known. People say we have a rise in Asian hate crimes, but when you look at what Black people have experienced in this country day in and day out, we've never gotten a bill passed on a hate crime against Black people. We had one major incident against crimes against Asian people and a bill was passed like that. So there is a distinct difference in how Black people are viewed in this country versus how Asian people are viewed in this country. So I want to make sure we understand that. Nonetheless, especially when you're talking about baseball, when there's so many international players, I don't watch a ton of baseball. I've started watching more baseball because I'm on Going Rogan show a lot now, and they talk about a lot of damn baseball. Shouts out to Arthi because I'd probably fail miserably on that show if it wasn't for her. Nonetheless, I've started watching more of it because of that. And even if they do speak English, sometimes I still don't understand what they're saying because their accent is so thick. So I could appreciate if it was me and my English was not the best, and I'm okay with it. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. When I was in middle school, I used to speak French, but even then, we went to Montreal, Canada, and I said one phrase in French, and this lyrics blaring off in French to me, and I became French because I could speak it when I had time to plan it, when I knew exactly what I was going to say. Then I was confident in it. But if you just want me to have conversational French, oh no, I was too self-conscious for that. I didn't know if I was going to be using things in the right context. So I very much was like, hold on, words together, and then. But when you're talking to reporters, you don't have that opportunity. It's, they said this, you respond back. And I wouldn't, if I was, look, Ohtani did it the right way. I'm not about to get caught up and say the wrong English word simply because my understanding isn't all the way there yet. I'm definitely going to speak my native tongue and use a translator to make sure I don't get myself in a hole, because that could happen just because you're using a wrong word, you know? So I think this is absolutely right. Gaslight, I just wanted to acknowledge what your point was, because I didn't want to gloss over that, because I thought that was a really good point to make. But Devin, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'm glad that you said that. And I think I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about that point either. I think that a lot of racism and horrible things against Black people continue to just get overlooked and brushed under the rug. That being said, I do think it is important that we call out public figures, TV personalities, influencers, whoever, who are perpetuating harmful stereotypes against other minority groups of people as well. So, you know, I think that in an effort to achieve equality, we have to be able to recognize what every group experiences, and that's not to take away from the, you know, from what Black people have gone through. You know what I mean? I think that it is important that Stephen A is taking this moment to acknowledge that. And maybe the reason people don't feel like they can hold him accountable for what he says about other Black athletes is because he is a Black man. I don't know if I would feel comfortable saying, like, Stephen A, like, that's not the right thing to say, you know what I mean, as a white person. So maybe that's where some of that's happening as well, but I don't know for sure. I'm sure it's much deeper than all of that. But that being said, we can wrap up this conversation about Stephen A. Smith. I am glad that he came out and apologized. I truly hope that he is using this moment to learn a lesson and to reconsider the way he talks about Asian athletes, Black athletes, you know, Hispanic athletes, to be an awakening moment for him, an enlightening moment for him. And I hope that it is, because to criticize someone for using a translator is just outrageous. I'm sure Shohei already feels different from the rest of his teammates, and it probably is a little bit uncomfortable to have to walk up there with somebody who's going to assist him in communicating. So the fact that he has the courage to do that, and he's willing to do that, and he does go above and beyond to clearly communicate with the media and his fans, to me, I think is commendable. And I think that we need to applaud and appreciate him for that. Let's move on. Let's talk about Dame Lillard, okay? I want to switch gears, because we might be seeing Dame have an actual shot at making it to the finals if this actually happens. So as we've been discussing, he may be ready to make a move from the Portland Trail Blazers after staying loyal and committed to them for so long. But watching them never make it to the finals year after year, plus the backlash that he got from the fan base after he endorsed Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups, I think has been enough of a motivation for him to seek out other options. He is the biggest superstar involved in trade talks right now, and I'm just hoping that wherever he ends up, he actually does have a shot at winning a ring, and that could happen if this goes through. The Golden State Warriors have apparently already internally discussed what they would need to do to get Dame to North California, and honestly, this might be the team that we need. If it's not going to be the Lakers, I would be happy to see Dame teaming up with Steph, Clay, and Draymond. According to The Athletic, like I said, the Warriors have already discussed the possibility of getting Dame out there with them. They wrote that the Warriors would certainly get involved in trade talks. They've apparently already made a call, and they've internally discussed the idea, considering all of the rising smoke out of Portland right now. They realize that getting Dame is not going to be an easy feat. There's going to be many competitive offers from interested teams across the league, but they're willing to give up a lot in order to get him over there. If the Trailblazers do decide to part ways with their franchise star, they would probably go into a full rebuild mode. We've talked about whether or not they should or shouldn't keep CJ on the roster, but it might be the best move for them to go into rebuild. And according to The Athletic, there aren't many better rebuilding trade packages dangling out there right now than James Wiseman, the 7th and 14th pick in the upcoming draft, plus more future firsts attached to Andrew Wiggins as salary match filler. So that means we would have Clay, Steph, and Clay, Steph, and Dame as a big three. And I think it would be awesome. So what do you think about this? Do you feel that this would be a good fit? Would he fit in well as a big three with Steph and Clay, Jackie?
I still think it's hilarious that we're saying Steph, Clay, and Dame are a big three. They not big. That is just funny to me. They not big. That is small ball. So, but okay. I mean, by definition, these guys are not big. I think it gets muddy. I think you muddy the waters a little bit when you have Dame and Steph on the same team, because one of them is going to have to fall back. It does make kind of somewhat sense to me, because I do think with Klay coming back, and I know we're talking about the guy that always shoots, but he's coming off of two of the worst back-to-back injuries we've ever seen. This is uncharted water for me. I've never seen a player come off of back-to-back. He hasn't played in a while because of very devastating injuries. So his minutes, in my opinion, are definitely going to be limited. It's a possibility that he might even come off the bench. He might be a sixth man. I could see that, just to keep him safe and sound. So I could see something like that happening. But the reality of it is, and it's funny because now I'm dropping the facts when it's not about the Lakers, but the reality of it is, this whole trade talk situation about Dame is going to entirely depend on Dame Dollar and how he behaves, because even if we don't, they don't have to trade him. They hold all the cards. You know, we saw that with Houston as well. Houston held all the cards with James Harden. However, James Harden had a lot less on his contract. Damian Lillard's contract takes him through, it's a super max deal that takes him through 2025, I believe. So that's a lot. Even with that, even with them holding all this, and I just don't see Dame doing that. He's not the big, I'm gonna pout and act a big baby like James Harden is. He's just not that guy. He's a better I don't want to say human being, but he's just not a crybaby like that. He's gonna roll with the punches. If anything, he would go in there and say, hey, I want out. And if they said, hey, we can appreciate that, but it's not going to happen, he would go out there and still be the best Damian Lillard we know him to be. He's not going to go out there and whine and cry and pout. That's just not who he is. But if he did, then it becomes, you have to do what's best for your franchise. And at that point, having a disgruntled player at that caliber isn't what's best for your franchise, because if he's not giving you 100% and all you got is CJ now you're in a worse position. So it really does kind of depend on how he's going to play the situation. I just don't see him playing the situation like James Harden does. And even if he does, I can see them being like, yo, bro, you going to get over this at some point, because we got you to 2025. So what you going to do? So I just don't see this happening in that way. I think it gets, you muddy the water. And it's interesting to me that we've gone from comparing Steph and Dame this entire time and doing this battle between Steph and Dame, and now all of a sudden we're saying, hey, let's have them better. Let's have them together on the same team. That muddies the water a little bit for me. I don't necessarily see this one happening, but of all of the trade talks that we have had, and this includes me saying that, you know, Dame is coming to LA. I'm just going to wave my hand so the basketball gods can hear me again. I just need to make sure they acknowledge me. Hello, gods, appreciate you. But right, this one does make the most sense. I think the Warriors have the most to offer. Oakland is his hometown. This one probably makes the most sense. I don't see it happening, though, personally. I just don't see it.
Well, I don't know if I see it happening or not. I do like the idea if it's not going to be the Lakers. I think Golden State Warriors would be a fun place for him to end up. There would definitely be some areas where they would need to kind of like improve, especially on defense. But I do think that this could be an interesting matchup if it does happen. Now, since we kind of are over on time, Jackie, I'm going to hand it over to you for the post-up. What do we have going on?
Okay, let's get into it. I wasn't ready. I thought we was going to make JD mad or something with some Steph slander. Or not JD, I'm sorry. Stay mad. Is he even here today?
Mad.
I haven't. Oh, he's already
No,
mad?
he's
Oh, okay.
mad.
Well, we are. Oh, okay. He says, I hate Damian Lillard. Okay, whatever. Yeah, he's mad. As long as we succeeded in that, we definitely can get into the post-up. Okay, because I saw somebody in the chat said, hey, let's talk about Nigeria. And if you guys don't know, the United States team has been beaten twice by the Nigerian team. And in a post game, Popovich was not with the slander towards Nigeria. I appreciate Pop so much, because and this reporter just kept coming at him, and he was like, hey, so how is it that you're not blowing out Nigeria? And I hate when people say that. Like the US is just the best. These teams go out there and they practice hard as well. They don't come into these situations thinking, oh, it's the US, let's not play well, we're going to lose. So shouts out to Popovich for how he handled this. So if we can throw up this first video of this interview.
You know, let me also answer that question. You know, you asked the same sort of question, the same family of question last time, where you assume things that are not true. When you just mentioned, you know, blowing these teams out, that's never happened.
And what you're not going to do, that's what Pop should have said. What you're not going to do is come in here and ask me the same question you asked me yesterday, sir. No, you're not. So I love Popovich for this. This is my favorite. He has so many moments that I love him for, but this is definitely one of them. Of course, people are all over the place on Twitter on this one. So let me just go to this first tweet. So if we can post this one. Now, the one on the bottom is funny to me. So it says, it's dismissive of the improvement of global basketball in the last decade. Plus, that's why that's a dumb question. It's like saying that you used to beat the Warriors by 30 and now they got Steph, KD, and Clay and Dre, and now you don't. It's omitting a whole lot of context. And the guy on the bottom does not get the comparison. He says, I can assure you there's no Steph or KD on Australia or Nigeria then, now, or ever. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. You're acting like the USA team is the same USA team that they were before, and you're acting like these other teams aren't consistently getting better. And I would guarantee you, people who are saying that, oh, these teams are just trash, the US is going to automatically blow out, they're not watching other teams. You're not watching foreign basketball. No shade to you. Why would you? We're here in America. We got our own basketball. But you can't really speak on something you've never seen, right? So that's number one. Let's go to this next tweet. Okay. This team is definitely not blowing anyone out. Not only has he not motivated the Spurs in several years or Team USA so far, but he acts like a you-know-what in the post-game presser as well. Nice work. I don't think he was acting like a jerk in the post-game presser. I think he was being very sportsmanlike and saying, hey, we're all athletes out here. Don't come out and shade another team just because you're an American. Don't do that. That's how Americans get a bad reputation worldwide anyway. So let's go to this final tweet because I think this one is interesting as well. So he says, motivated, when you lose your franchise player and replace him with two or threes or three or both threes, your franchise will take a dip and win losses. The losses mean KD is overrated. That's an interesting point. I'm not going to offer an opinion on that one. I'm just going to leave it with KD is overrated. And now we'll go into the next post up. Because that's my little bit of shade. I didn't say it. I just was reading what that tweet said. Right, Devin? I'm just a messenger, y'all. That's it. I didn't say it. I just read it. But I'm going to leave it there. Let it sit. We're going to go on to this next one because, look, I am so excited. I haven't been this excited for a movie since Black Panther and Endgame, and Endgame was trash. I'm not taking any questions on that. The way that Endgame ended was horrible. But Space Jam: A New Legacy is here, and it better not be trash because I'm going to be so mad about it. But the premiere happened last night here in LA, and everyone came out. Let me just show you everybody that came out. First and foremost, the royal family. And look at this. Missing the boys, but look how pretty this family is. Oh, I just love the royal family. Zuri's always a whole mood. She looks great all the time. I can't wait to see what she does when she grows up. She's going to be something amazing. I liked seeing his former teammate, Chris Bosh, out there representing for Kobe. I like this. If you guys have a minute, go to his Instagram page and see him playing with the Space Jam toys. It's hilarious. Also, my boy AD was out there with his little one, him being a girl dad. I don't know why AD is attractive to me. I know everybody looks at me like I'm crazy when I say that, but he's so handsome to me. He is so handsome. He is so handsome to me. I know what it is. It's the unibrow. I love the brow. I love how the brow goes when he smiles. It's just, I love it.
Okay,
Don't
you
judge
can have
me.
him. Go for it. Take it.
I want to. Got a whole girlfriend, and I'm not a Tristan Thompson like person, but I just think he's handsome. That's all I'm saying. All right. With that said, though, you think he should?
Maybe.
No.
Mm.
That's what makes him attractive. Anywho, all right. I thought he looked great, especially with his little one out there. But once again, here's Clay. Is he trying to be one of those plane directors? Tell me what's happening in this picture. Let's post up. What is he doing? What is he doing?
It does look like that. Emergency exits are located in the front and the back of the plane.
I'm like, forward and sideways and forward and sideways. Like, what? Oh, Clay, I do love you so. You're just so funny. But look, like I said, I'm excited for this movie to come out. But the haters always abound. Take a look at this next tweet. I had to post this up there because I agree with the tweet that I'm gonna do after this one. This one says, won't be watching unless Jordan is in it. I don't believe he is, but I'm not entirely sure. And this one says, it'll never be better than the original. I saw the original several times, and it was cool because at that time, the technology it was neat, you know? But I didn't think the movie was good. Have you seen it, Devin, the original Space Jam?
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's been a very long time. So I feel like I'm not qualified to comment on whether or not it was good, but it is a classic. I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic, but I didn't think it was good. But I agree with this next user. So let's take a look at this one. This final user says, I love the original, but it's pure nostalgia, LOL. It's pretty garbage. Jordan cannot act to save his whole life. I added the whole because that's why I didn't like that movie. Jordan can't act. That movie was terrible. But anyway, so let's go on to this next one. Because Patrick Mahomes is throwing shade at your quarterback, Devin, and I want to see how you feel about it. So let's take a listen to this one really quickly.
Watch out for Justin Herbert next year. I'll see it when I believe it. Yeah.
He said, look out for Justin Herbert.
So if you didn't hear it, Devin, they said, look out for Justin Herbert next season. And I thought he said it backwards. I thought he said the saying wrong, but this Twitter user was like, nope, he said it exactly how he meant it. So if we can throw that tweet up there. He says, why do people think he said the phrase backwards? He said it perfectly. I'll see it when I believe it, which actually means I'm never going to see it because I highly doubt this guy's got what it takes. Duh. All right, Devin, how do you feel about that?
Okay, I actually think that he did say it wrong. I don't think he meant it like that. I don't think he had this quick moment where he was like, ooh, I'm going to pull a fast one on everybody and say this phrase backwards. I think what he meant was, I'll believe it. I'll see it. Wait, what is it? I'll believe it when I see it. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's just friendly trolling competition. I don't think that there's some like deep-seated meaning to this. I don't know. Do you disagree? I'm not mad about it.
Well, technically, I agree with the last user because we did kind of see it already. We saw it last season. But I feel like Patrick Mahomes is saying that's what he did last season wasn't enough. So I'm going to see it then when I believe it. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
Because I'm sure he's going to have to say something on social media, so maybe we'll talk about that later. But let's get into this next one because I think Conor McGregor is 100% right on this. So let me just get right into what he said about him losing that fight by TKO. He didn't really lose that fight though. So let's take a listen.
What's up, fight fans? The Notorious here. Just out of the surgery room. Everything went to plan. Everything went perfect. I'm feeling tremendous. We got 6 weeks on a crutch now, and then we begin to build back. I want to thank all the fans all around the world for your messages of support. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I want to thank all the fans in attendance at the T-Mobile Arena, 21,800 fans in attendance. The place was absolutely electric. It was a hell of a first round. It would have been nice to get into that second round and then, to see what's what. But it is what it is. That's the nature of the business. A clean break of the tibia, and it was not to be. Dustin, you can celebrate that illegitimate win all you want, but you've done nothing in there. That second round would have shown all. And, onwards and upwards we go, team. We dust ourselves off, we build ourselves back, and we come back better than ever. Let's go, team.
All right. I mean, that's cool. I kind of agree with this next user. So let's get this tweet up there really quickly. He says, I'm not a huge Conor McGregor fan by any stretch, but he didn't get his butt kicked, LOL. He damn near submitted him and got 5 heavy elbows on Dustin's skull. He held his own. Round 2 could have set the pace for him. And I agree with that. I think that this was just one of those situations that things just didn't go his way. I definitely am not calling this a solid win. I know this was a tiebreaker, but they're going to have to do one more. So let's go on to this next one because baseball fans, I think we have some of you guys in there. And I need to ask you a question. Are you willing to risk it all to catch the ball? Take a look at this and let me know if you would do this. Because I would not. Can we play that one more time? One more time. I need y'all to see this. Ain't no way in hell I'm about.
Not worth it. For a ball, no.
No way in hell. Okay, so I had to get past that one really quickly because this next one I'm super excited about because I don't understand cricket at all. I don't know anything about it, but I'm guessing that it's kind of like okay, if you catch the ball out of bounds, then obviously it doesn't count, right? You got to be in, the ball has to stay in play. So the best way to keep the ball in play is to keep the ball in play and don't let it hit the ground. That's what I'm thinking is going on here. This is amazing. That's all I really want to say about this. Take a look at this.
Long off and long on.
Good!
Oh, brilliant! Stunning!
Awareness, the wherewithal, knowing where you are right next to the boundary, tiptoeing and getting the timing just right.
Wow.
Horizontal as well.
Absolutely superb.
That's amazing. That was amazing.
It really was.
I don't know anything about cricket, and now I feel like, damn, I got to start watching cricket. That was so good. I love the response that it was getting. Go ahead.
Oh, just the strategy, just the thought that goes into that, like knowing that you can jump out, throw the ball, jump back in. That takes a lot of like very quick thinking. Very, very impressive. Right.
Yeah, when she did that, because again, I don't know cricket like that. So when she threw it back, I was like, what is she doing? And then when she came back in, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I was so proud of her in that moment because I just don't know if I would have had that split-second reaction. I think I would have been like, oh, damn, I'm about to go out of bounds. Oh, well, you know what I mean? But then she was just like, no, I'm about to go out of bounds, but this ball ain't. And I love that. I love that. Obviously, there were some reactions on Instagram. Let me show you this one because the bottom one is really how I think a lot of people felt. Holy crap, I have no idea how cricket works, but this was pretty amazing. And then this one says, meanwhile, Americans are wondering what is going on. So if you guys understand, okay, so Kevin Lang says, I will never understand cricket and I lived in England. So this is an English sport? Who originated cricket? I think Arthi knows. Arthi, Fumble, if you can tell us in the chat, where did cricket originate? Was it in England? Was it in India? I don't know.
I have no idea.
And is it kind of like baseball? Oh, it did originate in England. Okay. All right. So it originated in England. All right. Well, anyway. All right, you guys, that's all I have for the post up. I'm about to watch cricket. Y'all think I'm playing, but I'm really about to start watching cricket now because at least the women's, I've never seen a men's cricket highlight. So I'm going to watch the women's cricket because it seems to be more interesting. But let's get on to what we're not going to do because we're going to have to sit here for a while because this one bothers me on so many levels. Probably not the levels that you guys would think it would bother me, but it does bother me. So I'm just going to go on record and say right now, social media is trash. It has been trash. It is a place where trolls and racists can say whatever they want to say, and there's really no consequences for it. TikTok, I don't know if you guys have seen this story, but TikTok literally is in the middle of this controversy where if you are, I think, a certified or you receive that blue check mark, you can get brand deals and you can market things in a certain way on your TikTok that the rest of us can't. So there's this guy who's a biracial man and he was trying to go ahead and market some of his posts. And when he would do like Black Lives Matter or Black Excellent or Black Business, all of that was banned and it was considered hate speech. But when he would type in white supremacy or anything like that, it was not banned at all. So TikTok is like, well, we don't know what happened. I guess our words in succession are wrong. It says that the problem was the words in succession triggered the algorithm, but how does Black excellence trigger an algorithm? I don't know. Social media is trash. It's one of the reasons why I never agreed with them banning Demon 45, because why are you going to ban him when you letting all his acolytes stay on? That doesn't make any sense. But nonetheless, this one right here pisses me off in all kinds of ways. Not because there's racism in England. I mean, I don't think anybody is shocked by that, but because of the people that are speaking out about it. So let me break this down for you. So there's black players for England's national soccer team, and they are the ones that felt the fury of racists because the team lost on Sunday in the Euro 2020 championship. So there's Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, and Bukayo Saka. They're all three of them are black, and all three of them missed a penalty kick. And so they're the ones that these racists are blaming for the team's loss. So fans went online and started throwing out all kinds of racist comments at these black players, which I'm surprised that people are surprised. It was back in May that we were talking about people in England calling guys monkeys. We've had bananas thrown at people. We've had people saying they should go back to where they came from. Like, racism in soccer is kind of just like saying, hey, we're going to play soccer. They go hand in hand. It just is what it is. I don't even really think we should have to entertain more than that. We know what this is. But here's where I have a problem. So Prince William, who serves as the president of England's Football Association, wrote on his Twitter that he is sickened by the racist abuse aimed at 3 black players. It must stop now, and all those involved should be held accountable. So he also, in addition to that, they released a statement on Monday, the Football Association did, that said the soccer's governing body in England is urging the British government to take action on legislation to criminalize online harassment on social media, and they're calling on social media companies to do more to remove racism on its site. Okay, that's cool. That's kind of par for the course. That's what you're supposed to do. When one of your players are attacked, whether you agree with the attack or not, you should show support for them. You should show support for your players. But I remember distinctly Prince William not saying anything to defend his biracial sister-in-law against racism. I'm not saying he said anything to add to it, but he damn sure was silent. He didn't come to her aid. There was a plethora of racism hurled at this woman, and he said nothing. So I'm a little taken aback that you would say something about 3 total and complete strangers when you wouldn't say something about someone in your family. That bothers me, okay? Aside from that, I'm going to let y'all have that one because I don't really do personal drama, but I'm just saying if you all of a sudden feel some type of racism, I would think you would feel some way about racism being directed at somebody who is a member of your family. So this I'm not buying what you're doing. So that's number one. But this next one is what really pisses me off. So I'm going to throw this up there, right? Because this is the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. And he says, this England team deserves to be lauded as heroes, not racially abused on social media. Those responsible for this appalling abuse should be ashamed of themselves. Appalling abuse is what he says. Now, I was going to go on Twitter and probably go right back to Twitter jail because I was just about to just go, sir, what about when you said this, and this? He is a born-again racist, and his racism is well documented. But I didn't even have to go on this tirade, so shout out to this user who created this meme. So let me show you this tweet. Because he says, I wonder where they might have got the idea it was acceptable to racially abuse people. It's a mystery. He's called gay men bum boys. He's called black people bank robbers. He says Africa is a mess. Africa is a country. He says bring back colonialism. He calls black people smiles watermelon smiles, and he says black people have lower IQs. And trust me, this person just put on there what they could fit, because there is a lot more. This man is homophobic. He is a born-again racist, and he's a misogynist. Why, sir, are you coming out and speaking about racism when you are the one who perpetuates racism? I do not like this at all. Of course, I feel for these 3 black men who, trust me, if it comes down to 3 penalty kicks, there was a lot y'all should have done in the game. This is not it, you know, but I've said that about free throws as well. There's other people you can pass the blame around. That is not the point, though. The point is you have the president of the racist club saying, hey, let's not be racist. Make it make sense. What we're not going to do is when we're in public, when all of a sudden the world is saying, hey, this happens too much. Y'all need to do something about it. You go, hey, throw the white hood back in the closet. I need to act like I give a damn. Well, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You have a long history, sir. I'm not even going to say what you said about women. He said women only go to college so they can find a husband because we're not able to go. Boy, bye. I can't. I cannot. England, y'all can kick rocks because this is a hot mess. Devin, given what this man has said about black people, why would he say that, hey, we need to criminalize this type of abuse? Because technically, doesn't that mean we have to criminalize him?
It's because it's a hot topic and it's gaining international attention. So he, of course, feels that this is his time to jump in and be the savior and have something to say. So I don't believe anything that he said. I believe just that graphic alone that you showed with all of the different derogatory remarks and name calling that he said in the past, that alone proves that he doesn't mean any of this. He's just trying to stay on top of a hot button topic right now. And I think what's appalling is him. He's appalling. The fact that that kind of behavior is normalized and pretty much, it's the same thing that we saw with Trump here. Trump validated the worst of society. He validated the worst people that live in America. And this Boris guy is doing the same thing. But the moment that he feels like, okay, I got to stay ahead of this headline, I got to stay ahead of this news cycle, that's when he has something to say. That's when he thinks people should be held accountable. Hold yourself accountable, bro. This is, I mean, nobody's going to forget what you said. We live in the internet age. Everything lives forever. And you're not going to get a pass for any of that harmful stuff that he said in the past.
Yeah, like he thought we was going to forget. Like, they won't remember that. They won't remember that I'm a racist twat. They'll forget. No, we not.
Nope. I know this is terrible, and I do feel bad for the soccer/football players. I never know what to say because people always. Someone in the chat was like, "Please say football."
I'm not going to do
soccer.
I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing. We live in America. I don't want to channel my inner Stephen A here, but if I say football, people are going to be like, it's not football season because everybody thinks about American football here in America. So I'm going to say soccer so there's no confusion. You know what I mean. It's fine.
It's fine. I agree with you 100%. But I do feel really, really terrible for the black athletes that have been the soccer players who have been the focus of like racist abuse. That's horrendous to me. And of course, we see this happen so often, time and time again in sports leagues across the world. But this is just, it's horrendous. It's terrible. And I'm glad that people are speaking up about it, except when it comes out of the mouth of a known racist idiot. Then I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
All right. Well, we can wrap up the show for the day, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends. And then we have Challenge Accepted coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So catch Jackie doing that. And we're going to be back here at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So don't forget to tune in. Have a great Taco Tuesday. Bye, guys.